This instalment of Law, Business and Human Rights zeroes in on an industry that is quite literally in our pockets, the technology sector. The 21st century economy has been dominated by the rise of big tech, whose products permeate so many aspects of our lives, and that we seemingly can't live without. Innovations like social media, artificial intelligence, smartphones hold out the promise of smarter, better tools for society's development and better ways to communicate and share information and feelings, emotions, knowledge, data with one another. Their tech tools can also be used to promote and advance human rights. But they raise many troubling human rights concerns. Not least, are they eroding our right to privacy? Is freedom of expression being curtailed in the name of profits? Access to the internet and the ability to communicate freely, these human rights concerns and others are some of the most pressing business and human rights issues of our time. Why? Well, it's about scale, capability and penetration, to use some business parlance. Scale. The sheer scale of the leading technology companies, the sheer scale of the information and data that they continue to collect about each and every one of us. Capability. The capabilities of technology continues to astound. New and innovative and creative and sometimes malicious uses of tech are constantly being developed. We can now, at the touch of a keyboard or two, beat a grandmaster at chess, develop life-saving vaccines and drugs, and shut down a country's power grid and launch large-scale warfare. Penetration. Technology is part and parcel of the modern age. We have tech in every facet of our lives and of society. There are many instances of technology companies and their government clients deploying technology for malign purposes, breaching human rights, deliberately or at the very least ignoring that they breach the human rights of their citizens. The Great Firewall of China, restricting Chinese people's access to the internet. Is accessing the internet a human right? Where should technology companies land on this question? To put it another way, should responsible tech companies sell an unscrupulous government software and hardware that they know will be used for nefarious purposes to restrict the human rights of people? Some companies have actually been sued for their supplying of tech to help build China's surveillance state. Google had to grapple with an internal unrest, internal employee protest because of some of its contracts that it had with the US military. Facebook and Twitter have been criticised for not regulating extremism and racism on their platforms. The rise of artificial intelligence is raising many human rights questions. It has been shown that some existing AI programs have a racial bias. AI can power expansive and intrusive surveillance programs. The UN, for instance, has warned that AI, artificial intelligence, could have an impact on, quote, rights to privacy, to a fair trial, to freedom from arbitrary arrest and detention, and even the right to life. The UN Human Rights Commissioner, Michelle Bachelet, has called for regulation. She's observed the higher the risk for human rights, the stricter the legal requirements for the use of AI technology should be. AI promises to unlock human potential. But how do we ensure that it does so in a responsible manner, respectful of human rights? Even as we contemplate what it means to be a responsible technology business, It's worthwhile to also spend some time contemplating the force for good that technology and AI can be, including in the pursuit of human rights protections and holding violators of human rights accountable. From the use of smartphones and cheap handheld cameras to document human rights abuses that can be shared worldwide in real time, to powerful satellite imagery being used to document large-scale atrocities. There's something really exciting about the use of technology, not just to restrict human rights, but to champion them. And to provide justice to victims of human rights abuses.